is dust in the wind, dude.
All right, so as you guys can see, we've got this thing on its way to being torn down pretty good. Got the trans, clutch, flywheel, pressure plate, all that stuff out. Turbo manifold, turbo, wastegate, all that stuff's out. I don't know if this is gonna be sketchy, but I could try it. If it's gonna be too sketchy, I won't show it on camera, but there's just like a ton of stuff, loose, broken, whatnot on this thing, and it's a good thing I'm tearing it down for some changes, because I don't know if that's gonna, that tab's probably not strong enough. You saw it a little bit, but this completely was separated. I don't think I can safely show that right now with one hand, but that motor mount's gone. Take my word for it. That hole, I seen a giant gap in between the bottom of this and the top of that with that bolted in there still. And yeah, we got a river of coolant we're dripping out because the turbo manifold, I could not unfortunately get to the block drain, so I can get to the block drain now. And yeah, other than that, this we had a blowout there that I was unaware of. Although I could hear it, an exhaust leak, I just didn't know where it was. And yeah, it was also the rear main seal. All that fluid that was leaking between the trans and the block, it's coming out of the rear main seal, so I was right about that. So all in all, happy that this thing's out of the car. And we got a cut ring gasket, so it'll be super nice to have this block straight up and down on an engine stand when I pull the cylinder head off. And yeah, our no nut removing deal here. You don't have to get to any of those little nuts to remove any of the grounds. Everything unplugs with these 3 plugs for our badass 2000 plus horsepower coil harness, coil setup. I still do need to build the bracket that ties all the bottom in together, but that'll happen soon. But yeah, she's out, she's broken down, and now I'm at the phase where I will be getting the engine hoisting this off of here and removing the oil pan and getting this block attached to one of the engine stands over there. And yeah, and then that'll be next, so that I can prepare to pull the cylinder head off. We'll have the oil pan off, inspect all the bearings, and then what I'm most curious to see, now I'm having second thoughts, but you know, sticking the mic in through the cylinder head hole upside down, and or the caliper, and getting a measurement from, you know, TDC. It's not the most accurate way to measure piston height, so kind of second guessing myself. I thought for sure I bent a rod, but you know, it's like you go to bed every night, you wake up with a fresh head, you know, a whole night asleep, and like you just have different thoughts on the same thing. And my main thought was, you know, measuring from here all the way down and setting TDC as best as I could without having a pointer or like a stop. Was that accurate, and is the rod actually bent? So we'll find out as soon as I get the head off, put it to true TDC, and then we can check with much better equipment. We'll check from the deck height, and that will tell us for sure, do we have a rod or piston down in the hole? And that was my biggest concern. You know, if we don't, I don't know, man, I might not even tear this thing apart. We might just have blown that head gasket as you know, as it was showing signs of that for sure. So spike on the cooling system up to the limit of the cap, and the cap relieved it, and I have that data, and I can easily see where the head gasket let go. And it was not tune-up related, guys. The tune-up in this thing was spot on. Checked with a timing light, super happy, super healthy. It was just, you know, it was just time. This thing might have been through hell from what I can tell. It looks like it has been. So tons of bolts that were not tight, tons of stuff that just isn't gonna cut it for what we're trying to do, and you know, trying to go 170 miles an hour in the quarter mile with this thing. It's just yeah, making 940 wheel horsepower on an unknown setup, clutch slipping and rods bending, but this engine is mint otherwise. Oh man, I'm so happy. Rod's bent. Anybody can see that rod is bent. Nice and bendy right there. But yeah, everything else looks amazing. This one tough little engine for sure. S52 power. So everything looks good. Pistons have no sign of wear or anything. I am freaking pumped. We can literally throw new rods, and I don't even know if we want to put new bearings in this. Probably slap it back together. And yeah, we're just gonna change the rods out, boys. This thing's gonna rip. Oh man, I'm so pumped right now. This is the first car I've wired completely from scratch, tuned on my dyno. Actually, I think it's easier to say I've done everything up to this point. built the fuel system, blah, blah, blah. Mike Radowski's old turbo kit, can't take credit for that. But it is so cool tearing down this engine, knowing that, you know, Mike tuned this thing back in the day, sure. But now me tuning this car on Pro AFI and tearing this engine down, knowing, you know, what I came up with the tune-up, and it's just so cool. I'm freaking pumped right now. Made a mess, but we'll get this cleaned up, and I guess that's not too bad of a mess, huh? Definitely the biggest mess is over here, but man, this freaking cylinder head looks great. Got some oil on here, no big deal. Clean up. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what to say for now. For now, we're gonna have to well, tomorrow I'm gonna come in and label and bag and tag some of this stuff because it's gonna be down for a couple days. Gotta figure out what our plan is for the rods. I think they'll be here any day now. And then, yeah, I guess I gotta sleep on this. We got some decisions to make, but this is freaking awesome. The engine looks great, and it made stupid power. I think my 4th pull on this thing, unknown tune-up, winging it. Of course, you know, I got all the safeties and stuff on Pro AFI, helped me out, but by pull number 4, we are already over 1,000 wheel horsepower. The people who were here that day literally thought I was nuts. And I was like, no, this is the fruits of my labor. I've been here for the last 3 or 4 months, every day, every night, by myself. You guys don't see anybody else here helping me. So I'm not complaining about that. It's just the fact that when I got this thing on the dyno, I told everybody, I'm gonna try to break it, because if it lives, that's gonna be amazing, and we're gonna go racing. But if I break it, I'm gonna fix it, make it stronger, and we're gonna keep going back to the dyno over there. So cool. I'm so freaking happy I can say that. And yeah, we're just gonna keep trying to break it. So 940 wheel horsepower, a little bit of coolant in cylinder 1, trying to hydrolock itself and kill itself for, you know, the abuse that I put this thing through. I think 40 pulls all said and done, or 30 pulls, I forget. But they were all in the, you know, 1200 flywheel horsepower according to Pro AFI. Lots and lots of pulls, lots of abuse, and we are just getting started. This is so freaking cool. I could see the clutch was slipping, so there's just all sorts of power on the table, boys. I'm freaking pumped. I think that's gonna end this video for tonight, and I am gonna go home, take a shower, and try to get myself some sleep, because man, I'm like little kid in freaking Christmas over here with his engine, and yeah, I couldn't be any happier. So this thing's gonna be stronger than ever. Trust the process. You trust that process. Oh yeah, one last thing. I figure I'd set that up on the blocks. They're supposed to line up. You're supposed to be able to see straight through that. Let me bring this forward some. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to see straight through them. They're just a little bent. Or this one's just a little bent. That is insane. Man. That is a trashed rod if I've ever seen it. A trashed rod that did me well. Did not snap, did not break or come apart. Thank sweet baby Jesus. Boy, did I get lucky with that. Like I said, guys, I thought a boost pipe popped off. I thought I heard a boost pipe pop off. Apparently when you shorten a rod up, it sounds like a boost pipe popped off. Over and out, fellas.